Welcome into the Hustle Podcast. Adam Trigger, Chris Thurston, Drew Martin. We are holding it down. Week 5 college football, Week 4 NFL. We got you covered here. Bill Connelly coming on, Kelly in Vegas like always. Guys, hopefully your weekend was good. And also remember, we are sponsored by Viva. Viva Tequila Seltzer, refreshing and drinkable hard seltzer with 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 4.5% ABV. Viva, the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations, as it was created with the active lifestyle in mind. Chris Thurston, I know you know Viva, man. This goes down well. I'm guessing you had a bunch this weekend. How was it, buddy?
I had a few, Drew Martin bets. It was my cousin's wedding down in Connecticut. We had a lot to drink, watched a lot of football, had a good time, went to the Yale-Cornell game. I had to handicap that game, so I thought the number was too high, 47.5. I tweeted it out before the game started, take the under, and it was really no sweat. So that was nice to cash that. So it was a good weekend overall. Hit the best bet again.
No sweat under, for sure. Those are always nice. And Adam Trigger, I'm guessing you had a great weekend as well, buddy. Welcome in.
Thanks, Drew. Yeah, no, I had a great weekend. I actually went to Chicago on Sunday, hung out with Kelly in Vegas and some of the Barstool people. So I'll wait. We'll do a little recap of that when she's on. But yeah, it was a great weekend. Another winning weekend for me in football. So I'm happy about that. And, hopefully we can keep it rolling right through this week.
Absolutely. And this weekend, especially in college football, guys, we got 4 top 25 matchups: Cincinnati, Notre Dame, Arkansas, Georgia, Baylor, Oklahoma State there in the Big 12, just to name a couple. CT, first, before we move on to like the basis of the show, you went to an Ivy League game. That's something I've never experienced. I'm guessing a lot of viewers out there haven't experienced. How was it, man?
I hadn't gone since I was a little kid. So I grew up in Hamden, Connecticut, which is right next to New Haven, where Yale is. Probably went to a couple games with my dad. Didn't think anything of it. Probably thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And Drew, now that going to it, it's pretty horrible football. It was fun being there. My brother-in-law, who I call him my brother-in-law, who married my cousin, he's good friends with the coach, so he gave us the VIP treatment. We were in with the friends and family, so got the free drinks and the food. So that was clutch, and it's always great when you hit your bet. But yeah, not the greatest of football. There's 60,000 seats in the stadium at the Yale Bowl, and there was probably about 1,300 people there.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't none of them play last year? Weren't all the Ivies off?
Play last
year.
Yeah,
so I mean, that's going to be tough to take a full year off, and that's probably something too.
Put it this way, Drew Martin bets. It's not the same as going to our Auburn game or a Baylor game.
Yeah, no, I could see the difference in the gameplay. Also, in the atmosphere, it seems like it might be a little less hydration in the stands, maybe something of that nature. My cousin actually played for Princeton, and unfortunately, I never made it up for a game. I'm a bad cousin, but it's what it is.
CT was hydrated. I was texting with him a little bit.
I had a few. It was great.
Yeah. Absolutely. And hey, Adam, we had best bets. I know that I think I was the anchor there, but of course, hey, it's transparency. Losses are part of this business. I guess it's time to recap right off the bat before we start breaking down these games.
Yeah, let's recap it right now. We like to recap the show from the week before, see where we were right, see where we were wrong. Drew, you're not the only anchor. I hit my first 2 best bets, week 1 and week 2. I haven't won one since, so hopefully this week is the week. Because I'm on a 3 best bet losing streak. But you and I lost our best bets last week. I had Utah minus 14.5. They won by 11, seemingly without trying. They could have easily won that game by more than 2 touchdowns. You were on Kansas State. They fell a couple points short. But CT and Kelly getting it done with the Rams. They were both on the Rams for their best bet. They blow out the Bucks. Kelly is still undefeated with her best bet, so I can't wait to see what she has this week. We messed up. We forgot to ask Todd Furman for a best bet last week. However, he gave an awesome breakdown of BYU in general, which I'll get to more in a later section. But he also kind of touched on the BYU South Florida game, said the only way he could play that game was to take the points. And I want to point out that game went exactly how he said it was going to. BYU out to a 21-0 lead, looked like they were going to blow USF out of the stadium, and they just kind of went to sleep and let South Florida creep back in, ended up being a 35-27 final. So Awesome breakdown by Todd on that last week. Everything else was pretty solid as usual, as has been the usual since we started this. The big game section, the only one that we really kind of lost in that section was Texas Tech, which I'm still just kind of speechless as to the result there. But CT Bets redeemed himself with Boston College overtime winner. Drew, you said the dog could be barking in Texas A&M Arkansas, and it did. Outright winner with Arkansas. And I talked about the Bengals and the Steelers. Bengals get there with an outright winner as well. Kelly's card, first losing week, but it was only 2-3. And again, we're going to get to something else that she did this weekend. I know you all follow her on Twitter, and she had a pretty crazy weekend with one very big winner. So we'll leave that till she's on. But the Wally's Corner, still
Wally's Corner
rolling right along. It looks like It looks like he's 21-11 right now. And once again, this past week, Toledo winner, Army winner, Bengals and Cowboys, and all of them got there regardless of what number you got. So his wins have been smashing. And the two losers, Kansas State and the Bucks. So he gives us another winning week. All in all, pretty good. And again, the goal is just to provide winning information. I think we've done that so far, and hopefully we do it again this week.
Absolutely. I think we can. And Wally's Corner's really killing it, huh? This guy's just throwing out winners from the desert. It's amazing.
It's been unbelievable. We give him a lot of crap for sleeping in and taking forever to get the jobs done. But he's been delivering. And like we always say, and I'll say it again when I do Wally's Corner later on, the information we're giving you is what the sharps are betting and what they're betting early. And if you're able to find a number that's relatively close or better than what we're giving to you, go and fire that, because obviously, like Trig just recapped, it's been absolutely money this year so far.
I second that, guys. He is just throwing out good information from there behind the counter in a Las Vegas sports book that will remain unnamed on the Hustle podcast, right?
One more thing, Drew. We talked when Chris gave out that Bucks sharp play from Wally. He said it would get hit by sharp money late on the other side by the Rams. It's exactly what happened. So, again, that was one of the losses. And if you watched this show, you probably were on the other side. So, with Kelly and CT both being on the Rams. So I think it was like another really good week of information overall.
The Hustle podcast, simulcast live on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Alan, Eddie, Spring Hill, all welcome in, watching live here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Feel free to chime in, guys, in the chat box. Also, if you're watching on replay, feel free to drop a line below. And please like and comment via podcast as well, wherever you're downloading your podcast at The Hustle Podcast. It's presented by Viva Tequila Seltzer. Viva Tequila Seltzer. Our flavors pair perfectly with our artisanal Blanco tequila for subtle and refreshing drinks. CT Bets, we got big game breakdown. And talking about the big game slate, this is a big one, particularly in college football, also in the NFL. We'll be talking them both now. I know you had your eye on the Bucks and the Patriots. We got Ole Miss and Alabama. I'm interested in this Bama Ole Miss game, Bucks and Patriots. I know you know a little bit more about those two teams than me, man. So have at it. What are you thinking in the big game slate?
Sure. For the Ole Miss Bama game, obviously this is a Ole Miss team that we've been all on right since the get-go here. We're all on them, over 7.5 wins. They've come out, been nothing but fire. Matt Corral is the leader to win the Heisman. Lane Kiffin has this team rolling right now. I actually bet this game. It actually opened on Sunday at Bama minus 20. I was able to get down on Ole Miss plus 18. Obviously, that's a great number. We saw last week what I had a great number with Texas Tech, like Trig said earlier, and we know what happened there. I bet a number, not a team there. It was a good position. Sometimes it always doesn't work out. Drew, I'm a little terrified right now. This game has ticked down to 14.5. And every radio show, every TV show I turn on, all the talking heads are talking Ole Miss upset, Ole Miss to win this game. It's got me reeling right now. I know I have a great number. I haven't taken any more yet as the number ticked down. I still like Ole Miss. I do think they're going to be able to keep it close and keep it tight. What I'm worried about is are they going to be able to keep it close for 4 quarters? I think so. I'm just hoping they're going to be able to hold on, but I am rolling with Lane Kiffin and Corral. I've gotten to the window with Ole Miss plus 18 here.
All right, I like it. And I know another person that would have a strong opinion here as we get to our first guest, talking about a guy that knows his college football, guys. This is the best college football writer in the world, in my opinion. You can follow him on Twitter at ESPN_Bill C. The man himself, Bill Connelly, coming to us. Welcome in, Bill. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing good. Here with Adam Trigger, Chris Thurston, and now Bill Connelly. I am Drew Martin. And, guys, if you're not following Bill on Twitter, you probably need to. He knows college football as good as anybody out there. A writer for ESPN. He has multiple columns coming out on ESPN.com. Professional nerd. I'm just reading off of your Twitter profile here. Bill, S&P Plus, author of Study Hall, and the 50 best college football teams of all time. Puma addiction. Pumas, I like that, Bill. But overall, man, what do you got? Oh, nice. Guadalajara too?
Oh, yeah.
Are you a Mexican La Liga fan?
Not as much this year. We need a few more goals in La Liga, in Liga MX this year. It's been a little on the low scoring side, but otherwise, yes.
I love it. I love my Latin American soccer, man. It's the type of soccer you just you open up a beer and hopefully your bet kind of cashes there, and especially in the state of Mexico. But I guess Adam, I know that you had a question for Bill, so have at it, buddy.
Hey, Bill, thanks for joining us. Yeah, first I want to kind of give you a chance to explain to the viewers. You created a ranking system called SP Plus rankings, and I want to know, as sports bettors, we're always looking for value one way or the other. And it's a few weeks in, you've got some data now. I want to know if the SP ranking system sees either a fade value or follow value on any team coming into this week, if there's any outliers one way or the other.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting week overall because, what I've found in the past is for the first 3 games, 4 weeks of the year, basically, you've got it's mostly preseason projections still. There just isn't a lot of value in a single game. You can't really adjust for opponents very well. And so most of the ratings continue to be from the preseason numbers. So after 4 games, though, it seems like the accuracy really picks up and I start to fade out the preseason numbers a little bit. And you see a lot of movement all of a sudden. And I found it kind of interesting. Florida is up to 4th in SP Plus now. They were kind of stuck around the 8 to 10 area. And it makes sense. I mean, they played 4 good games. I thought I was really impressed with what they did against Tennessee last week, just because I think Tennessee's a solid team in and of itself. And that could have been such a perfect opportunity for a letdown after the Alabama game, but they kind of backed up their status as a potential top 5 team. So that would be, that's certainly an interesting one to me. And then my numbers, and this is my numbers speaking. I don't have to agree with everything they say, but from a pure upside perspective, I've got 2 Pac-12 teams in the top 10, and neither is Oregon. Arizona State and UCLA both have had just massive. I think this is these are 2 volatile teams, high upside, low downside. But I think both of these teams have massive upside, and I'm really curious to see if one of them can make a run here.
Bill, thanks for joining us here. In the new AP Top 25 poll, as crazy as it sounds, there isn't an ACC team in the top 20. You got NC State 23, Wake Forest at 24, and Clemson hanging on for dear life at 25. I think Dabo Swinney should just shut up about it should be a 4-team playoff and worry about getting his team right here. I know it's early in the season, but do you think there's going to be an ACC team in the college football playoff come December?
No, because even, technically if Boston College wins out, that's great. It's going to require them to win like 8 close games because they don't stand out from the pack very much. And they could do that. Iowa almost made the playoff the one year by winning a bunch of close games. So it could happen, but the odds aren't good. And even if Clemson kind of remembers how to score points and wins out from here, their best win's going to be against like Pitt. Right. So like the only time we've seen a 2-loss team come close, Auburn would have made it with 2 losses in 2017. They beat Alabama and Georgia to get to that point, and then they lost the SEC title game. So no, I don't see, if one of the teams wins out, if one of the unbeaten teams wins out, that's great, but it's probably not going to happen. And Clemson, if they win out, they still probably won't get in. So this is certainly, we have a lot of weird scenarios on the table this year. Just when you think about all the potential 2-loss conference champions and who might be left to snare a playoff bid, I can't really see a scenario here where the ACC gets one in.
Bill, I wanted to shoot over to the Big 12 quick because I'm a Big 12 guy. And I saw you tweeted it a couple days ago. Oklahoma obviously hasn't had the best track record for getting off to a fast start with Lincoln Riley. They've struggled with Kansas State as of recently. They dropped their last 2 to the Wildcats. OU goes into Manhattan this weekend as a 10.5-point favorite. Is OU going to figure it out this year and start scoring? And if so, will it start this weekend in Manhattan?
Right. I mean, technically, they've gotten to this point better than they were last year. By this point last year, they had lost 2 games. And Rattler, for all of his struggling right now in the big play department, he's still putting together better numbers than he did in the first 4 games last year. So there doesn't really have to be anything wrong with OU. But there's no question that a team like Kansas State, they can run the ball well, and they punish mistakes. They sit back and wait for you to make a mistake. And if you make enough of them, they can win the game. Last year, OU made a ton of mistakes, had a bunch of defensive breakdowns, and I think Rattler, if I remember right, threw a late pick or 2, and that gave Kansas State. I mean, that recipe could always work. I just don't think it will. I'm not sure that Kansas State's, it will require a certain number of mistakes for OU to lose. Let's put it that way. And they're probably still the safest bet in the Big 12 moving forward. But it's a really fun conference just because I'm looking at SP Plus right now, 9 teams in the top 50. In SP Plus. And so if OU isn't a genuine top 2 or 3 team, they're not getting through 9 games without losing one. That's for sure.
Yeah, the Big 12 is always bringing up, it's always been like Oklahoma at the top, Kansas at the bottom, and then just everybody in between kind of always changing it up. So, guys, thanks for joining us here on the Hustle Podcast. We got Bill Connelly from ESPN joining us now, the best college football writer in the world. Bill, I'm looking at some of your tweets here. Week 5 S&P Plus picks. I'm seeing Miami 33, UVA 25, going down the list here, finishing with UCLA 31, ASU 29. Is there any picks that kind of like jump off the board as maybe your favorite pick for this weekend?
Well, my favorite, just from an entertainment perspective, is the Maryland beating Iowa one. That one, like I saw where Maryland was ranking. It's still, I didn't really comprehend that meant that we were going to be projected to beat Iowa. Well, that's kind of a believe it when you see it thing, I guess. But I mean, they can throw the ball. Maryland has a lot of athletes and they can throw the ball really well. And I'm curious if it takes discipline to beat Iowa, and we'll see if they have that. But I'm excited about that one. I think as far as like confidence goes, I mentioned Florida earlier. I had them beating Kentucky by about 11 points. I'm pretty confident in Florida, and usually when I say that, things go awry. But this is a team, like I said, I think they proved a lot last week and just bouncing back and handling their business. And Kentucky, it's diminishing returns on offense right now for Kentucky. They came out of the gate with some fun new ideas. They're not working all that well anymore. They tried to lose to Chattanooga in South Carolina. Not sure which one's worse. And so I don't really think it'll take a nice rebound from them to compete with Florida. I'm pretty confident in the Gators there.
And Bill, do you find yourself concentrating on more like the SEC and Big Ten, or you find yourself concentrating more like Max, Conference USA, or is it just kind of all over the board?
Yeah, well, one thing I like about the getting to write a weekly chalk column for ESPN Chalk is that I get to write about it's not about what will get the most clicks, in which case it's always going to be like write about Alabama and whatnot. I can write about wherever the interesting stuff is, and very frequently that's in the smaller conferences. And I think one of the things I found super interesting this year, just from the lines from SP Plus and whatever else, like the MAC's been pretty predictable this year. The SEC and Big Ten have been reasonably predictable this year. Like the ACC has made no sense. Like even from a closing lines perspective, the closing lines are missing ACC games by like 14, 15 points on average, just like SP Plus is. Pac-12 doesn't make any sense. Sun Belt doesn't make a lot of sense. That's really entertaining, if nothing else, even if it's not good for betting. And so it's made things kind of figuring out what makes sense in those conferences has been pretty tough.
Yeah, and obviously your college football knowledge is like second to none. But are you a sports bettor sometimes? Do you kind of throw it around a lot or not at all?
I live in Missouri, so it takes a few extra steps to do that, and I'm not really disciplined enough to do that. So I just kind of track. I send my picks to other people, basically.
Yeah, no,
that's just pretty stupid if we're being honest. It really is a waste of money on my part, but it's fine.
You got to do what you got to do. You live where you live. Guys, I first followed Bill Connelly, my old boss, Aaron Redding, who's a great sports bettor. He was like, man, you need to read what he's writing coming into the season. This was way before ESPN, Bill. So the sports bettors out there that are betting big money have been reading your stuff for quite some time. I'm talking 5 or 6 years ago. You got to be like in tune to that happening, right? With people asking you questions and everything like that. Do you feel that coming from the sports betting marketplace?
Yeah, I mean, you can, plus, when you pick up new followers and a lot of them have picks in the name and stuff, you start to figure out like, I bet I know why that person's following me overall. No, it has been. I mean, it makes sense because the analytics and betting worlds, even if you don't bet, if you're on the analytics side, you're basically aiming for the same things. You're trying to come up with accurate projections and predictions to stuff. So it makes perfect sense. Like that Venn diagram is just like a circle basically, because our interests align. So it makes I've always understood why it happens, and it's been pretty fun interacting with everybody.
Absolutely. I'm sure people out there are thinking, Bill Connelly at ESPN, you at SB Nation before, hopefully I can say that. Going to ESPN, do you think it's helped you or hurt you in terms of just kind of being able to do what you want to do? And also, how's it going overall? What's it like to work at ESPN?
I mean, it's good. Like I said, being able to, get involved with chalk, especially. I mean, the thing I was known most for was talking about everybody, right? Not just Alabama, but writing 3,000 words about Louisiana Monroe in the off season and all that. I don't write 3,000 anymore, but it's still, I get to touch on every single team in the off season, interact with every fan base. And I love doing that. Just being able to kind of take the temperature of everybody and get to know how similar all the fan bases really are, I think has been a lot of fun. And that hasn't changed at all. Obviously, I mean, I think I write as much or more at this point. I don't podcast as much, but there's still, so the duties have changed a little bit, but I don't feel hindered. Let's put it that way. I still get to write about a whole heck of a lot of teams and soccer as well.
Good stuff. Well, I always enjoy reading your stuff. Again, guys, in my opinion, the best college football writer out there, inventor of S&P Plus college football ratings. You can check out his articles at ESPN. Bill, is there anything I'm leaving off in terms of where people can find you? And also, any final thoughts here for the show?
I mean, I don't have anything special. I just have the weekly obligations, the columns and whatnot. And you can find all of those either on my Twitter feed or on a link in my Twitter bio. You can find a link to it, basically everything I've written at ESPN. So that's definitely the place to go. But I think this has been a really weird season so far in college football, but not the picks from we were kind of curious heading into this year. Were the preseason projections and all the numbers that came out of 2020, were they real, or would it be smarter to just kind of write off 2020 entirely? From a average error standpoint, it's a normal season, and the data from 2020 has been pretty normal as well. And I think that's certainly good for me. I was very happy to see that, but I found that's something we weren't quite sure about heading into the year. And I think we can safely say that was real football we watched last year, and it really counted.
Cool. Good to hear that coming from the source himself. And Bill, can we get a best bet for you this weekend, man? Don't want to press you too hard.
I do have Florida was one of them. I will say the Florida, Kentucky, that was one of them, wherever the line was at 7.5, 8, something.
Yeah, I was seeing 8.5 were starting to pop up. So I guess the move is going towards where you're talking to.
Yeah. So that was definitely one. And I'm hopping on the Bowling Green bandwagon, which feels horrible. I'll be hopping off very soon, but their defense is real, and I'm curious what they can do against Kent State, because that's a huge line against Kent State. That's
a very difficult handicap, because look at Kent State's schedule. Now they're playing Bowling Green. It's kind of the opposite. Yeah,
exactly. They can play. They can actually move the football now. They're not playing Texas A&M anymore. So that'll be a really interesting game.
All right, so you're going to take the points with Bowling Green.
And I'll say quick, if you agree with Bill there, go now and get it, because there's still 17s out there, but that is going to be gone. I can almost guarantee it's going to be 16 or 15 very soon.
I thought there was an injury that I didn't know about or something. It was a lot bigger line than I expected to see there. So maybe there's a reason, but I don't know what that reason is.
Well, that 17 is a key number. Like I said, if you agree with Bill, I'm looking at the screen right now. There's still a couple 17s out there. So go on and get that, because I don't think that's going to be around much longer. I'd imagine that continues to drop.
Yeah.
Two good ones there. Looking towards the Florida Gators and maybe the Bowling Green Falcons. All right, a little action here from Bill Connelly. ESPN guys, check him out. Also check him out on Twitter as well. And Bill, we really appreciate you jumping on with us, man. We'll have to have you on again.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Bill. All right, guys. As you can check out Bill Connelly at ESPN_Bill C and CT Bets. Sorry about that. He jumped on right when we were going through college football, and then I believe the NFL game you want to talk about as well, the Bucs and the Patriots there.
Well, I'm going to leave that Bucs-Pats game. KIV and I want to get on that a little bit, but there was another one, Drew. I'm going back to the well with this one. BC. BC is a team that I've been high on preseason. I'm still high on them right now. They're 4-0. They're very well coached with Jeff Hafley. I think this is too many right now. Clemson, as Bill just said, is having, they're having a tough time scoring right now. Clearly, they're ranked number 25 for the first time in how long? I think it's a good spot for BC, and I like the 16 right there. I think they're going to be able to keep it close. The offensive line has been nothing but great for VC, and with Phil Jerkovich out still, Dennis Rochelle has come in and he's been amazing. Zay Flowers has been catching all kinds of balls. They've been scoring. They got a huge win against SEC Missouri last weekend. I took the points. Give me 16 and small bet for me with BC.
I like it from CT Bets at CT Bets 16 on Twitter. We got big game breakdown. We also got Kelly in Vegas in the Barstool Bets segment coming right up. Reminder, guys, Viva watermelon flavor right here. The green can coming to a store near you. Tequila, seltzer. Our flavors pair perfectly with Artisanal Blanco tequila. Also, we flavored our tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with a kick, just as we like to live our lives. Talking about, a little flavor and a little spice of life here with our guests coming in. Barstool Bets segment. Kelly in Vegas on Twitter, traveling the world and joining us live now. Kelly, welcome in. How you feeling?
Great, except for how digital I am. I still have my office set up, so I have a green screen. I don't know whose living room this is, but it seemed like a really good idea for today because anything's better than a blank wall like Adam.
No, it looks good.
I usually have the green screen back there too, but I don't really know if it shows up on this one, so I decided to just move it out of the way and go with my very empty office right here. But, I don't have time to decorate it, Kel, because I'm out on the weekends, flying to hang out with you and stuff. So I need to, kind of put some more stuff back here.
It's called time management here. Kind of similar to money management, but better because it has to do with the one thing that we don't get an unlimited supply of. It's just been a struggle. I finally have a desk, so life is really good now. And my computer isn't propped up on some makeshift kind of deal. But I had to laugh when I pulled up this green screen. I'm like, oh, good. It looks like I actually have a furnished house.
Yeah, it looks really clean back there. You got a good cleaning lady. I don't know where you are exactly. I mean, you really have been traveling all over. Chicago, Miami. I think you're at Tampa, Las Vegas. Nobody can keep up. But you were with Trig this past week. It looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a great time. We were in Aurora, Illinois, home of Wayne's World. Trig did not know that, in case you guys wanted to know. It was pretty funny, and we had a really good time. We did a big Barstool tailgate. All the Barstool personalities were there. And besides the fact that the Bears didn't cover, and I was cheering so hard for them too, I just wanted to see the bookmakers get slaughtered. You know that I'm always there for a good bloodbath. And unfortunately, they did not. But we still had a really good time during a bunch of high noons. Oops, can't say that on the show. By the way, when are Vivas going to be out? I can't find them in the store. Just like I can't find the damn pizza in the store either.
Mid-October, very soon. Talked to the owner a lot over the weekend, and he's guaranteed me by the end of October we will be fully supplied for the show, and you'll be seeing it in stores and bars.
And there's going to be a case sent to my house. Okay, deal.
Yeah, exactly. All of it.
Absolutely. Yes, we all need a case here. And we got people in the chat box here, Kelly. Kelly Smile, gotta love that girl. Kelly in the house from Spring Trail Outdoors. Alan in the house as well. Kelly, we also have a question. When is bet on it on?
Yeah, so we filmed Bet on It right before the show, and it should be out soon. We were going to do live like we did last year, but VR is just absolutely slammed with his UFC obligations. Obviously, I've got a lot going on with Barstool, so it just makes more sense to try to record when we're all available, so it kind of varies in time. We do the live show on Mondays at 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. I'm hoping it comes out faster than last week. I think it was like almost 11 p.m. Eastern when the NFL show came out, so really hoping. And I am going to drop some of that gold, because I can't even get John Murray to text me back about coming on the show. He texts me, why would you want me to come on that show? And I'm like, you know what? I don't need you. We're good. So VR was so kind enough to share some of his gold with me. I know last week wasn't the greatest because I cherry picked out of the 15 things he had that I also agreed with. So this week I'm just going to give you the 5 totals that look like the sharpest sides to me.
Yeah, let's do it. Unless you want to talk big game breakdown or with Trig, anything like that.
I'll just rattle through these real quick. Let me actually just pull up what I had bet myself here. The 5 totals that these guys absolutely hammered. So I've got my Excel is not my friend today. Okay. He gave out 127 under 42.5. That's Troy at South Carolina. 123 under 54. That's Louisiana Tech at NC State. Under 135.57, Kansas at Iowa State. 151 under 59, Nevada at Boise State. And 221 under 55.5, Arizona State, UCLA. Those are the 5. And I've been playing all their stuff. So if you guys want to get the rest of his gold, make sure you guys watch the college football edition and NFL edition of Bet on It tonight. And there is just a ton of stuff this week. He was like, listen, I haven't really played that much, but here's what everybody else played. And I go, for the love of God, this is crazy. One of the guys in the text box is asking, take Tampa in a survivor pool. And I think that kind of shifts into what CT and I wanted to talk about, because I think that is the scariest play this week. I played the Bengals in one, the Bills in one, and the Saints in my third one. The fourth one I haven't quite decided yet. Kind of back and forth on whether I actually want to gamble yet again. I had the Panthers in 3 out of 4 week 1, and I don't know if I really want to on the Bengals. I know I need to save the Bills, and I'd really like to save the Saints again. So kind of going back and forth on what's going on here. But CT, I'll let you take over since I've kind of hijacked the show here, and we'll talk a little
Listen, Sunday, November 15th, 2020. Do you guys know what happened that night? Sunday, November 15th, 2020. Does anybody know?
That was last year. I don't know.
You're asking a lot. This has been a rough couple of years, and you expect me to
remember real quick, KIV, the 6-2 Ravens went into Foxborough to play the 3-5 New England Patriots as 7-point favorites. Everyone in the world bet the Patriots. The talking heads. The game was over. You might as well not even play it. That's what everybody is saying up here. All Patriots fans, the game's over. They are going to smash them. I've had friends who don't even bet text me, what's the line in this game? Give me 500. Put me in. Can you put fire this on me? Tom Brady's going to run all over them. Why are they even bothering going to play? KIV last year and I were all over the Patriots. She'll agree with me. There's about 2 or 3 spots when the New England Patriots play, and then you're going to say to me, no CT bets. That's when Tom Brady was on the team. Au contraire, mon frere. Here, Cam Newton and the New England Patriots got the outright win, handled the Ravens, outright dogs. KIV and I didn't even need the points. We threw them out the window. I'm not here to tell you that that's going to happen this weekend, but I'm here to tell you one thing. That line is 7 right now. It's probably going to go to 7.5, and that game is going to be a lot closer than everybody thinks. The game is not over. They're going to still play the game Sunday night, and Bill's not going to let that get out of hand. And I won't be surprised if New England wins that game when the
just out of curiosity, because you do live in New England, I'm curious to hear, do you think Brady lets it get out of hand? It's not like they left on bad terms. Tom Brady still probably has the utmost respect for Bill Belichick.
Does he, though?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
He's been on all these shows all week long, and he's kind of throwing one-liners out. Because Bill has come out and he's said a couple things about Tom, and Tom's like, oh, that's really interesting that Bill actually is giving me compliments now. So I don't know if he does have the respect for him. Tom Brady's dad has been calling into the Boston radios saying that they have no doubt in their mind they're coming up here and they're going to take care of business handily. So
you love to hear it. Listen, if it gets a 7.5, how can I not? It's a number play at that point in time. 7, I don't know. I'm going to tell you this right now. I just tweeted out that the Seahawks and the Lions both dropped to 2.5 in a couple spots, just adding to all of these myriad of teasers I've been playing the last 2 weeks. Everybody, Bucks, Chiefs, teasers, Bucks, Chiefs, Bucks, Chiefs, Bucks, Chiefs. Yeah, that is what, when they walk up to the counter in Vegas, New Jersey, Illinois, wherever they are, Bucks, Chiefs all week. That is going to be the teaser of the week that everybody's going to hear. One of those teams is going to probably lose outright.
Well, if that's the teaser all week, you should keep an eye on if they move the line to block it, because if they don't, that's definitely the books basically saying that they're willing to take a position on them, losing
and that's how I feel. I mean, look, it was 6.5. If you were going to bet if you're going to bet the Bucks, you should have already done it at 5.5.
Correct.
If you're sitting here at 7, you're way too late to the party. Yep. And at this point in time, if it hits 7.5, but you're right, Adam, if it hits 7.5, do we wait? I don't think if it hits 7.5, it's not going back to 7 unless it's at a brief period of time and the wise guys take a position and it gets hit. And none of us are going to get that 7.5 unless you were sitting in front of your computer and have your app open at that very moment in time. That's the only way you're going to get it. If they do move it to block that teaser and they take a position that, hey, look, this game could land 1 or 2, very feasible. I'm not sure.
Kelly, a follow-up to that and to Spring Hill here in the chat box, Chiefs are hot trash. I mean, what is this, 1-12 the last 13? You still think they're taking like that much public money?
They did last week. I mean, look, Marco's on the show with me, and he kind of talked me into the Chiefs early on throughout the week. I do a podcast with Pam Maldonado, and she's like, dude, you know that you cannot play the Chiefs. You know so much better than this. And I said, you're right. She talked me into betting the Chargers. We bet the Chargers. It was just one of those scenarios. I didn't think the Chargers were going to win the game outright. In Arrowhead, that's a tough place to win. Browns should have probably won there. Look at this Chiefs team. These defensive coordinators have finally caught up to this team, and they are absolute fades until further notice.
Well, and Drew, also, I think it has to do a little bit with who the Chiefs keep playing. This week, they're playing the Eagles, who just got run out on Monday night. So it's not like they're playing an opponent that has much appeal. So I think down the road, if they keep, maybe not cover, you might see it go the other way, in which case there will probably be value on the Chiefs. But right now, it's like, it's another week where, I mean, who really wants to bet the Eagles right there? Me, probably. But I'm just saying, like, who really wants to bet the Eagles? So I think that keeps happening a little bit as well.
I like it, guys. Well, Kelly, do we need to hit any more Pats and Bucks, or should we start talking about Bucks and Dolphins?
Man, we have just so many games this week. Like this is the opposite of last week. Last week, I played a bunch of teasers. I was just on cruise control. Didn't really love the card. I kind of got a late start this week because traveling Monday, and I didn't really have the best Wi-Fi in the plane. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this flight, just zone out. Got home and did no handicapping because I went straight into Monday Night Football. And then, as you guys saw on Twitter, I got pissed off right out of the gate, turned it off, did some laundry, and went to bed early. Got the result I wanted with the Cowboys, but yesterday kind of another off day. So I was kind of playing catch up. But I'm looking at this, and I've got 15 games I like on Saturday, and that is very uncharacteristic of me. So we can run through some of these, but I've got a lot of work ahead of me tonight before I even narrow any of these down. I do have a best bet for you guys, though.
Wait a minute. Before we go any further, hold on.
Yeah. Let's talk about this, please.
Yeah, last week, quote from Kelly in Vegas on last week's show, in college football, I've got some bad habits. I'm addicted to those underdogs. How have we not talked about the underdog parlay yet that you whacked over the weekend on a bunch of different sites?
I even said it. I was like, this is not going to hit. Okay, when I hit that parlay that paid, I think it was 85-1 in 2013, Matt Humans and I worked at the Review Journal, and he goes, you're never going to hit one of those again in your life. That is the once-in-a-lifetime thing. And then Sammy P. and John Murray and I were sitting at this dive bar outside of Thomas and Mack before going to a UNLV game, and I had my last leg of my parlay to pay 86-1 was Louisville. They were up double digits on Duke at half. So I didn't want to leave and go to the UNLV game. John Murray leaves. Sammy P's brother texts, Duke is coming back. And what happened? Duke came back. I never made it to the UNLV game. I was sick to my stomach. You can't hedge that, even if I wanted to. Who am I going to run over to the Tuscany and try to find $4,000 to hedge the other side and take Duke's second half? Disgusting. And then I look at this week and I'm like, I don't love any touchdown underdogs. I mean, there were so many underdogs last week that won outright. And I no matter what combination I would have picked, I would have hit a parlay. I just happened to kind of be a jackass and pick the ones with the 3 longest favorites. Or the 3 longest odds, excuse me.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
Money line parlay, guys.
82 to 1. 82 to 1. And you gave it out.
Almost 83 to 1.
And you gave it out on Twitter.
I gave everything on Twitter. Listen, I think that's kind of the thing is that there's a lot of trash talk, right? Most of these people I've had blocked for a long time, and I just don't care. But those days when it's just absolute utter crickets on social media, I have to kind of keep it a little humble as well because I kind of believe in that whole thing. But it was wild. I was drinking with everybody at Bounce after the Wisconsin Notre Dame game, and I totally thought NC State was going to blow it, and it was over. I sat down with one of the other Barstool guys from Chicago. He's like, "Oh, I'm all over North Carolina." I was like, "Nah, Georgia Tech's going to win that game." And my phone had died, and so I'd given it to the bartender, and I was like, "Hey, Eddie, can you give me a Georgia Tech update?" And he's like, "You're not funny." And I go, "What?" And he goes, "It's over." And I go, "It's over." I asked him to put on the, when you're drinking and especially all day, time gets away from me. I go, "What do you mean it's over?" He's like, "Oregon State already started up 7-0. I was like, "I gotta go." I got my phone, had enough charge to get an Uber. I couldn't believe that Georgia Tech ran away with that game. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch a single second of it, but I didn't need to. And went home. Oregon State was looking decent at half. Fell asleep in the third quarter. Woke up at 3 a.m. just going absolutely bananas. It was a great time.
Yeah, because I was on the way to the airport, or early, because my flight left at 6, and I was still texting with you, and I had to I was like, wait a minute, why is she texting me back right now? It's 5 in the morning. And
I just couldn't fall back asleep after this. I mean, when you've been drinking all day and you're just kind of it's almost like you take a nap, but you wake up, you still have a buzz. And I just was so buzzing from hitting that parlay. I just remember calling Brett and he was asleep and he answered. He's like, "Hello." I go, "We're fucking rich." And he goes, "No, we're not." Click. He's like, "What?" I was just being so obnoxious. Obviously, it was just one of those really great weekends that's for the record books. I mean, I said on Monday on Bet On, I go, I should really retire, but I've already got to play on the Cowboys tonight, so we're going to ride with it.
Yeah, the week started well, exactly. We've been riding high, and let's keep on riding it, and we know what's going to eventually happen to us, but, that's gambling, and we're going to win long term here.
That's what it's all about. And the plus what, 83 to 1, put 100 on it, 8,300, could do the math there. Put you in a pretty good position this season.
As long as I always said before when they were, 20 I try to keep them above 25 to 1 at the lowest. And, even if you hit one of those, you're free rolling for essentially 2 years of football season anyway. And maybe even a little college basketball. So we're free rolling for a couple of years now. So let's see if we can't hit another one before the season ends.
Absolutely, guys. Check her out on Twitter at Kelly in Vegas, Barstool as well. WagerTalk, and find her there. Bet on it. We got the Bucks and the Dolphins. We're talking next week football, guys. We'll be in Tampa. If you're liking the podcast, the Hustle podcast, you like Barstool, you like WagerTalk, anything, you're welcome to come tailgate with us. In Raymond James? Do we have any particulars settled out here, Kelly?
Do you have any particular? I missed what you said, Drew. I'm sorry.
Like Kelly or CT, I'm not sure who's sailing the ship. Do we have the particulars set out in terms of where we're tailgating?
Parking passes or not? I know Chris bought tickets to the game already. I'm trying to figure out our game plan for Saturday. I put it on Twitter and said, okay, where should we go? I know where we should go Saturday night, and that is a sports bar called Ferg's. But there is a couple of different places on the beach in Clearwater that we're trying to take Uncle Benny. I know that, Drew, you're driving up, and this is going to be really exciting. Just kind of going to bar hop, I think, for the Saturday games. As long as there's good food, good TV, and the drinks are flowing. Sunday, I have a feeling that I'm going to not be feeling the hottest, and Chris is going to be in Tampa at the ass crack of dawn and ready to get to the stadium. So we'll figure out the parking pass situation. If anybody lives in Tampa and they're like, hey, this is where you should be tailgating, or if we need to be in the parking lot, I'm down for whatever. I'm excited to see. This is just another stadium to check off my list.
Yeah,
also, we'll tweet out where we're tailgating. So once we know, we'll get it out on Twitter so you guys can come find us.
Yeah, if you guys know what lot to park in, let us know. We're gonna have about 3 or 4 cars and about 15 of us. So if you want to come out and party with us, we'll be smashing beers. And like Kel said,
John Murray did just text me back. He is going to be available for the Hustle Pod next Wednesday. I said next Wednesday at 3 or any Wednesday you're available. And he said, I'm sure we can work that out. So John Murray, future guest of the Hustle Podcast.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Yeah, excited to have him on. We're also excited to have. Are we doing this 50-yard dash, 100-yard dash?
Oh, yeah. We're absolutely. Are you kidding
I think we
me?
have to.
Yeah, you have to. And I'm going to put it on social media. You guys are absolutely. I don't remember what the guy in the comments said. It was either 50 or 100-yard dash. Trig already said he's going to slam a Celsius, like shotgun a Celsius, and then you guys are going to race. So I think it's going to be hilarious. So bring your running shoes. I don't want to hear you're in flip-flops or some weird Floridian thing. Okay, Drew?
Okay, I mean, I just remember last week when we first talked about it, I was feeling confident, and I went outside to go run a little bit, and now I think I went from the favorite to I'm not so sure. I don't run like I used to. Let's just put it that way. Kind of a little worried about it.
I got to figure out why I get booted off this show about 45 minutes in every week, but that's I've had other things to worry about, like where my keys are since I left them in the rental in Chicago. So I've been like cleaning up my life for the last couple of days. I finally have keys to everything again. So yeah, that was the bad beat. Last weekend, the bad beat of my weekend was leaving the Viva at Chris Thurston's house. This past week, top that, I left my keys in the rental. And so that was fun to come home with no keys. I finally got my car back from the Albany airport. I'm finally back into my apartment. It's been a good couple of days. So,
all right, guys. Well, we only got about 7 or 8 minutes left. Kelly, you're welcome to stay as long as you want, like always, or if you want to leave us with the best bet, however you want to do this.
I'm going to give you guys the best bet. This is the same one I gave out on Bet On It, like I do every single week, just because I really do. I really try to keep things consistent across all platforms. So apologies if you guys have already heard this in some sort of capacity, but this is my favorite bet, and we're going to just keep it rolling. There was a couple of years ago at when I was at Bleacher Report, and I had a really nice run on bet. Jean shorts are Florida. I love jean shorts.
They are.
So long story short, we're going to hope we can't go on like a 12-0 run here, and I'm going to keep it rolling with the Panthers. Now, I know I said that I was on the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night, and I didn't like the line move. I even tweeted out. I was like, oh, I hate when it goes from 4 to 3, like goes through that key number of 3.5. It makes me a little apprehensive because I felt like the bookmakers are like, come on, guys, come on in, bet the Dallas Cowboys. And the Dallas Cowboys got it done since I turned the game off. That being said, it was easy to lay those points. I laid it early in the week last week, and that was because they were playing the Eagles. And normally I'd be looking to take the points with a divisional underdog. That was not the case. Now, I think a lot's been made of Panthers without Christian McCaffrey. I don't think it really matters. Now, I shouldn't say that he doesn't matter to the betting line because he does, but it's already baked into the betting line. This line should be 3.5. It's 4. It's 4.5. I bet it at 4.5. So make sure you guys are shopping around. One of the things that I like is my good friend Mark Lawrence puts out a newsletter, and I don't always agree with his bets, but I love his database. Very similar to our good friend Ralph Michaels. They're actually friends. That's how I met him. He has it in this week. Dallas 0-8 straight up and against the spread after they win at home on Monday night. That is straight up history. The Dallas Cowboys fall flat on their face. And I'm going to be honest with you, the probably 13 minutes collectively of that game that I watched in between getting pissed and turning it off and walking in and out of the room, what in the hell is Mike McCarthy doing? I'm not saying Matt Rule is going to be some great NFL head coach down the road, but Matt Rule does not make bonehead mistakes like McCarthy did there before the half. That being said, I like the Panthers. I think this is too many points. And who do the Dallas Cowboys play next week? Oh, that's right. Another divisional opponent. I know it's just the New York Giants, but this team wants to win the NFC East. They want to ruin my Washington football team bet, and I don't blame them. I'm currently hating myself for being so high on that team, but I'm all over the Panthers this week.
I like it. The Panthers. If she won't say it, I will. What, 4-0 on the Hustle Podcast? Best bets going for 5. Let's go, Kelly in Vegas with the Panthers.
Yeah, we're going to keep it rolling, guys. I appreciate you having me on each and every week. This has been really fun hanging out with 3 of my best guy friends, and I can't wait to see you guys next week.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Kelly in Vegas, everyone. Follow her on Twitter at Kelly in Vegas. Check her work out at WagerTalk.com on the Bet On It show, and also Barstool Bet. She's got a lot going on there with Barstool. So again, guys, we are presented by Viva Tequila Seltzer, coming to a store near you next month. Our belief is to live long, live well, and live it up. Viva up. Well, we got Wally's Corner, I believe, CT Bets. Is that where we're going right now?
Yeah, going to fire through Wally's Corner. Trig, again, what was the record last week on Wally's Corner? And give us the up-to-date record, please.
Yeah,
really good.
Last week, Wally 4-2, up-to-date record 21-11 from the Walrus. Let's
21-11. That's pretty good, guys. So, and again, this is information that we're getting from our good friend Pat Wall, who is a junior odds trader out at a book in Vegas that we will, we won't let you guys know that, but we'll keep that under wraps. But we're getting some good, sharp info from him, and it's been doing really well. So if you can find some a good number that correlates with what we're going to give you, go out and fire that. So he gave us 11 this week, Drew Martin bets. So
oh my gosh.
He was supposed to give us stay to 10 in typical Walrus fashion. He doesn't listen, but we'll always take the extra info. So
he gave us one more right before tip off. So here we go. First one is Army at Ball State, team number 129 Army. They bet Army -4 up to -7. Currently sits around 7.5. I'll have Trig tweet these as well, so you guys don't have to rush and write them down.
Okay, writing them down.
Next one is Indiana at Penn State, team number 132 Penn State. They bet Penn State -9 all the way up to -11.5. Now sits at 12.5. Number 3, Charlotte at Illinois, team number 140 Illinois. They bet -9 up to -10.5. Now sits at -11. Number 4, Washington at Oregon State. Bet number 161, Washington. They bet them Washington +4 down to +3. Now sits at +2.5. Number 5, Miss State at Texas A&M. They bet Mississippi State +9.5 down to +7.5. Now sits at +7. Arkansas State at Georgia Southern. They bet Arkansas State +4 down to 2.5. Now sits at +2, +1.5. Old Dominion at UTEP. They bet UTEP -4 all the way up to -5. Now sits at -5.5. 5.5. Off to the NFL. Panthers at Cowboys. On the same page as Kelly in Vegas. KIV on the Panthers. Sharps are on the Panthers. They bet them +5.5 down to 4.5. Giants at Saints. They bet the Saints -6.5 up to -7. Now sits -7.5. Cardinals at Rams. They bet the Cards +6.5 down to 5. Now sits at +4.5. And he gave us one more right before tip off. Western Michigan. They bet -5 at Buffalo. Now sits as Western Michigan -6.5, -7. So there's 11 for you. Trig will tweet them later on, and if you guys miss it, and I didn't go so fast, so I
Panthers seems to be like the sharpest side out there right now, because I had another very sharp football bettor that I trust and is always seems to be on the right side of the move or the number, like Panthers as well. So hopefully that's the case, and KIV's streak is intact. But that looks like a sharp side.
All right, guys, we're running up against it a little bit time-wise. Really good information from Wally's Corner. I'm going to put a little bit of risk on these myself. So he's on that heck of a run, 21-11. But best bets, guys, I want to start us off with Air Force New Mexico. 45.5 is the total. And look, Rocky Long, the defensive coordinator for New Mexico, used to be the head coach for San Diego State. And, of course, they played the option a bunch too, and they fared very well. He knows how to coach his defenses against the option attack. Not going to be a whole lot of up tempo here. 45.5 in college football is not a high total, but it's not high for a reason. I'm betting the under Air Force in New Mexico for my best bet. So CT Bets, you got a best bet for us?
Yeah, I hit my second best bet in a row last week with the Rams, and I'm coming right back with McVay and the boys again this weekend. I know Wally just said there was sharp action on the cards. They hit them plus 6.5, plus 6, plus 5.5. It's down to 4.5. I'm getting to the window. I did. I laid 4.5, 4:05 Eastern Sunday. The Cards are coming to LA in this NFC West showdown to secure the top spot in the division. Cards were impressive week 1 over the Titans. Squeak out a win in Minnesota week 2 where they got dominated. Have to come back versus the Jags in week 3 to get a comeback win, and they get the win in the cover. Rams look to be that team that I thought they might be. I bet them 14-1 to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. I'm going to lay it with Stafford and McVay over Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. Rams minus 4.5, best bet. Look to take it 4-2 on the overall best bets for CT.
Nice. I like it. Now, Adam, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, so I'm going to go to the NFL here. My last couple on this show have been college football. They haven't got there. So I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go to the NFL, and I'm going to go with the Washington football team. I have to be honest. They've been a real disappointment so far this year. I was very high on the football team coming into the season, and really they should be 0-3 right now. I mean, they were kind of gifted that Giants win. And just got blown out last week by Buffalo. Ugly game 1, first game of the season. They couldn't get off the field on 3rd down, and then they choked the ball away inside their own 5-yard line and basically give that win to the Chargers. With that being said, they haven't covered a spread yet. I think this is the week that changes. The Falcons still just scream fraud to me. I don't buy, we're going to look at this in a few weeks and say, okay, well, Atlanta's this, but they've been, their wins are over AFC or NFC East teams, which is still a pretty weak division in my opinion. I'm just not buying Atlanta as a 3-1 team, and I think we're going to see football team look a little bit better this week because Atlanta really just doesn't have a pass rush. So it's not going to be like last week where Heineke couldn't do anything against the Bills, and that was a big reason that the Bills were able to pull away in that game. But I actually see Washington sort of winning this game. I think in the trenches a little bit here. I think the defensive line, which I'm really waiting for Chase Young to look like he did last year, and the player that we know he is. I think they're going to get some push on the defensive side against Atlanta's offensive line. And at the same time, the Atlanta defensive line is really not very good. I think you're going to see football team have a much easier time moving the ball here. And I think it's just, we know this defense is good. I don't really know what has been the issue so far this year, but they've played a couple strong teams, right? The Bills, offense is very good. The Chargers just kept converting. The defense wasn't terrible in that game, but the Chargers just kept converting 3rd downs. So I think it's a little bit fluky that they're as bad as they've been. I'm going to call for the football team defense to step up this week, and I think we're going to see a little more offense. I want to say they're -1 right now. I would probably lay the -120, but either way, football team's going to win that game.
Washington football team it is from Trig. We got some guys in the chat box. Jimmy, appreciate the kind words here. We appreciate you being involved. If you're in the Tampa area, come tailgate with us for the Dolphins and Bucks game. And Sweet asking, is this live? Yeah, we are live. Simulcast live on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. You can listen anytime, anywhere, wherever you're downloading your podcast at. The Hustle Podcast, Apple Podcast, whatever. Please rate and like the podcast. CT Bets, any final words before we shut this down?
Yeah, final thoughts. If you guys like the show and you like the information we're giving out, we started a merchandise store. Yeah. We got some good stuff on there. Our good friend Pat Wall set it up for us. We have T-shirts. We have hoodies, tank tops, glasses. Please help support us. Keep this show going. Very reasonable priced on there, and there's good stuff. So we'll be showing some swag in the next couple of shows here. We got a big order on hands, and we'll be giving out some T-shirts and hoodies as the year goes on too.
Absolutely, it's a pretty cool logo, if I might say, the Hustle Podcast logo. Adam, any closing thoughts here before we shut this down?
Closing thoughts. I meant to bring this up when Kel was on. I was in. We showed up at a steakhouse. I was with Kelly, Megan Money, her husband, another one of our friends, as Dolphins Raiders were going to overtime. And We sat there and grinded that game out on my phone. The steakhouse, I don't know why she booked a dinner at a library. It was like the quietest steakhouse I think I've been in a while. So, I mean, you could have heard a pin drop, and we were just sweating this Dolphins. Kel and I both had Dolphins plus 3.5. Probably craziest NFL game of the weekend. We were going nuts, being obnoxiously loud. I meant to bring it up when she was on there, but it was awesome hanging out with her and the Barstool crew in Chicago, and hopefully, those events will keep happening because we had a great time. And I think it was open to the public and whatnot, and I think everyone had a pretty good time.
We're going to keep it rolling next weekend.
Absolutely. Next weekend, guys. All right. For CT Bets, Adam Trigger, I am Drew Martin, the Hustle Show podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Best of luck with your bets.